Hey, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Amanda.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Kathleen.
And this is the federal election edition of Beyond a Ballot, powered by DoorDash. Welcome. It is Tuesday, March 25th, E-34. It has been a busy day of pledges and promises on the election campaign. Let's dig right into it. Liberal leader Mark Carney was in Halifax pledging to buy new submarines, drones, icebreakers, and increasing pay for Canadian armed forces. Amanda Alvaro, talk about this announcement for us.
Yeah, so he's continuing his East Coast tour. Shout out to any of our East Coast listeners. And you're right. He talked about an unprecedented acceleration of investment in the armed forces. He said it was so that we could defend every inch of our sovereign territory. So you're hearing him say a lot of sovereign in many of his speeches. That was part of his pledge. He talked about this increase in defense spending. The other major moment that I thought came out of the campaign in Halifax today was that he was asked about the impending April 2nd increase in tariffs. And he did say that export taxes were still on the table as a retaliatory measure. He also, I thought, was really continuing to frame his position vis-a-vis Trump. He says, I'm only interested in strong negotiations and serious negotiations with President Trump. He said the point of these discussions is about substantive negotiations. The point is not about theater. So really delineating himself from this idea that, Trump's all about theatrics and he's about getting really serious and that we need a serious person at the table to get rid of these Trump tariffs.
Let's go to Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader. He was in Vaughan promising a Conservative government would eliminate the GST on all new homes under $1.3 million. Wow, that's a lot of money. Rachel Siegel, that's more than the Liberals promised, though. It's like he kind of upped it a bit.
Yeah, exactly. The Liberals came out and promised on up to $1 million. Poilievre realizing that in urban centers, $1 million doesn't get you much, especially where I'm from, the city of Vancouver. So 1.3 million being that cutoff for the Tories on this announcement. When you look at just how much housing has increased over the last 10 years, I mean, the Tories are saying that housing costs have doubled since the Liberals came into power. And you now need $250,000 in income just to be able to qualify for a mortgage in the city of Vancouver for the median housing cost of over $1 million. So the average housing cost in Vancouver in the last 10 years has now gotten up to $1.1 million. So this trying to put money back into Canadians' pockets, again, going to the notion of bringing it home, playing into this affordability message, Pierre on the road, and again in Toronto, in northern Toronto today, in Vaughan, trying to talk about affordability in one of the urban centers in this country.
Kathleen Monk, Jagmeet Singh, NDP leader, was in Toronto. No announcement, but a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, for sure. In the GTHA area, some fun endorsements for the New Democrats today. Obviously coming in from CUPE and the Amalgamated Transit Union. Those are the TTC workers who drives our buses and subways in Toronto endorsing Singh. But the story that the New Democrats were trying to tell today was really one about housing affordability, kind of similar, but a different vein our party took than that of the Conservatives. Actually, speaking to a mom who's raised her son for over 18 years in a rent-controlled building that recently has been bought up by Brookfield. So New Democrats really taking aim at Mark Carney's former workplace and talking about how unfair it's been when corporations buy up these buildings and, Erin told the story today. Ms. Philby told the story about how her and her son had lived in this building for 18 years. And she has neighbors that are paying twice as much as she is just because of the rent control that she's received and just how unaffordable it's become to live in the building and how her budget is so tight. So New Democrats looking for stopping the rent evictions, stopping the corporate buying up of all of our affordable homes, especially in our urban centers where families sometimes need to live in order to, frankly, to work in the jobs that we need workers for in our cities. So I thought it was a really great announcement focusing on the personal and the story of Erin and her son.
Okay, let's get to the campaign call out for the day. And let's go in the same order again. Amanda, I'm going to start with you. What is your campaign call out?
So I think it's the emergence of foreign interference. We expected that we'd be talking about it throughout this campaign, that and the disinformation campaigns. It has reared its ugly head really early. So first we saw Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. She was accused of urging the U.S. to interfere in the election for the advantage of the Conservative Party. And then today, this other story comes out where CSIS has learned that India played a role in helping to organize, support, and fund in Pierre Poilievre's leadership bid, but they were unable to share that information with Poilievre because to this day, day after day, month over month, year after year, he refuses to get security clearance. Carney used this as an opportunity, took aim at Poilievre and said, it is baffling, it is irresponsible that he refuses to get this clearance. In normal times, in peace times, it's unacceptable. But when we're facing the greatest threat that we faced in a generation, he has to answer for that. So I thought that that was a clear shot, a bit of a win for Carney. I don't know how Canadians are going to feel about the fact that Poilievre still refuses to get that clearance.
Rachel, campaign call out or reaction to that?
I'm going to do both. My campaign call out to start with is going to be for the Brotherhood of the Boilermakers who endorsed Pierre Poilievre yesterday. So we're kind of seeing what happened in Ontario with Doug Ford and having a lot of the unions come out and endorse him. Unions that are typically endorsing the NDP are now starting to get behind Pierre Poilievre. And I think that was the first endorsement of many to come. Let's dive into the CSIS story, which who knows how Robert Fife of the Globe and Mail got that story. But just to clarify, CSIS under the CSIS Act, Section 12.1, for those of us who want to dive into that act, would have allowed for anybody to be briefed on this situation. And so to claim that Poilievre needed to have that secret clearance in order to know about this is just not factually correct. In fact, Tom Mulcair, the former leader of the NDP, yesterday was out talking about how he, as leader, would not have gotten security clearance because you basically muzzle yourself. You're not allowed to talk about anything once you've seen it. And so Mulcair did say he wouldn't have done it. And so the Conservatives, I feel like we lived 10 lifetimes today already, because the Conservatives came out and have now put out the fact that Mark Carney negotiated with the deputy governor of the Bank of China alone while he was at Brookfield. And now there's a lot of questions about the relationship between Mark Carney and the Chinese banking system. And so I think that there are things coming out on both sides, but ultimately I think this is a loss for Canadians, to be completely sincere. Like, really, we're talking about affordability. We're talking about domestic issues. Donald Trump, that's what this campaign should be focused on. And this is just a little bit of a sideshow here.
Kathleen.
Well, my approach to these kind of things generally, Hannah, is you don't get points for the number of words you say. You don't get points for how many seconds tick by on the clock. You get points for the message you deliver. And the message is, if you don't get your security clearance, that is disqualifying for you as prime minister. End point. If you can't figure out what to say to the media and actually keep our country safe. Sorry, that's the job of prime minister. As prime minister, if someone's elected as prime minister, they have to figure out how to say, they get lots of secrets. That's the challenge, right? You're briefed on top secret intelligence every day. Thank goodness, unlike in America, we don't have our elected officials, at least that we know of yet, using signal chats, planning wars, like as we've all been aware of in the news lately.
Let me just jump in. And I think it's something that Rachel was going to say, and it's the argument that Pierre Poilievre gives as well, that he, under Stephen Harper, had his security clearance. Is that enough? Kathleen, I'm
No.
going to go to you because I interrupted.
My point is, you have to be able to chew bubblegum and walk at the same time when you're a prime minister. You have to be able to have your security clearance and still speak to the media. And if there are allegations that, for instance, there was foreign interference in your leadership campaign that elected you leader in 2022, why has it taken over 2 years and you've just not gotten your security clearance? Like, this is disqualifying as a prime minister. You can't elect somebody to the job who will not get this clearance.
Rachel, we're going overtime a little bit today.
That's okay. Has he said that he won't get the clearance as prime minister? Has he made that comment?
He's denied getting clearance multiple times in the lead up, even when he had
right as leader of the opposition.
Even when he had,
but he's auditioning to be prime minister right now.
Right, but he's had.
But he won't. I mean, I guess that question, this is the question we're leaving, right, to the listeners. Do you think that somebody who's auditioning to be prime minister during this climate, during these times, should have security clearance so that they get all of the information that is, you know, especially when we're facing some of the greatest threats of our generation, the point that Carney made today? Do you think it's essential or not? Maybe that's the question we pose.
And one then the opposite of that is just that his claim is that he's leader of the opposition. He doesn't need to be muzzled. Anything he's going to say, he can't talk about. So when he becomes prime minister and he's making decisions on behalf of the country, absolutely. But right now, he's leader of the opposition. Why be muzzled by the decision to have that clearance?
And we did hear from Tom Mulcair to be. I know. Look at Kathleen. Her arms are flailing around. But we did hear from Tom Mulcair, and I'm just putting it out there so all the information is out there. Former leader of the NDP saying he wouldn't want that either because then he would be curtailed for giving information.
That's
to the
what I'm
public.
saying.
So I'm just putting it out there. Go, Kathleen.
The information that actually needs to get out there to the listeners is that every other leader in the House, Bloc, Green, New Democrat, have all gotten their security clearance. There is only one individual. There is only one leader who has consistently refused for years to get the security clearance. That raises questions about integrity. That raises questions about his ability to lead.
Rachel
has to be considered.
I'm going to give Amanda's nodding. Rachel, I'm going to give you the final word on this one.
I think if Poilievre is elected prime minister, he will do that. He will get a security clearance. He will make decisions on behalf of the country. Until that point, I think he's made his case.
I am going to have to end it there. And if you could see our faces, I think these are important debates to have. And that's why this podcast exists. So join us again tomorrow, where we will continue to have all of these vital discussions about what's happening on the campaign trail when it comes to policy announcements, but also digging into a little analysis with 3 really brilliant women.
Thank you for listening. New episodes come out daily, and you can find Beyond a Ballot on Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. A huge thank you to our title sponsor, DoorDash, and sponsors Equal Voice, Page, and Canada Powered by Women for making this election special possible. Speak to you tomorrow.